Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking our iceberg model and diving way beneath the surface of the towing industry in Victoria. We're going to completely unpack how standard pricing actually works, explore the extreme physical and safety risks these operators face every single day, and finally, show you exactly how to spot a top-tier towing company when you're in a pinch.
Okay, picture this, and it's a totally relatable nightmare. You're stranded on the Monash Freeway right in the middle of peak hour traffic. Cars are just whipping past you, your engine is completely dead, and it's literally the absolute last place you want to be. Your vulnerability is at an all-time high. And honestly, the very first question racing through your mind probably isn't just, when is help getting here, but rather, painfully, how much is this going to cost me? Understanding the financial mechanics behind what happens next is absolutely crucial if you want to avoid getting taken for a ride.
$1,461.71. Yeah, that is the massive sticker shock you could face in Melbourne for impound release fees if your vehicle is towed and left unclaimed for just 14 days. It perfectly highlights how a simple breakdown can rapidly snowball into a major financial crisis if you aren't paying close attention to how the system actually operates.
So, to make sense of all this, here is our agenda for today's explainer. We'll cover the cost of a tow, the hidden fees to watch out for, the extreme towing safety risks involved, and finally, spotting the good guys.
Let's jump right into Part 1, the cost of a tow.
Let's peel back the curtain on the immediate financial impact of a breakdown. There's a really stark contrast in pricing structures based purely on your circumstances. On one side, we have standard breakdown towing. If your car just gives up the ghost and you need a quick, short trip under 5 kilometers, you're looking at roughly $88. A 10-kilometer trip averages around $143. But let's look at the other side. If you're involved in an actual accident in Melbourne's controlled area, the pricing becomes heavily regulated and significantly steeper. You get hit with a base fee of $417.11 for just the first 8 kilometers, plus an additional $6.57 for every single kilometer after that. So the context of why you need that tow completely dictates your baseline cost. But as you'll see, that baseline is really only the tip of the pricing iceberg.
Which brings us to Part 2, hidden fees to watch.
Because if you think a tow is just a tow, well, think again. Not all vehicle recoveries are created equal. If you drive a heavy 4WD, a big SUV, or a work van, that requires specialized heavy-duty equipment and, naturally, higher fees. Breakdown after 5 p.m. on a Friday or during a holiday weekend, you better prepare for an after-hours surcharge that can slap an extra $152.90 right onto your bill. And if your car is tucked away in some low-clearance underground apartment garage or bogged off-road in deep mud, the intricate winching and specialized trucks required to get it out will make your final price absolutely skyrocket.
You also need to keep a very close eye on the clock. $47.25. That's exactly what a regulated holding yard will charge you every single day just to store your car undercover. If it's in a locked yard, it's about $31 daily. These storage fees accumulate relentlessly and can quickly exceed the original towing charge itself. Prompt collection is financially essential. Now, I know it's easy to look at these skyrocketing costs and feel a bit frustrated, but let's flip the perspective for a second. Why are these premiums so high? What actually justifies that cost?
Well, that perfectly sets up Part 3, extreme towing safety risks.
To really understand the risk, we have to look at the machinery itself. A tilt tray isn't just your basic flatbed truck, no way. It's an intricate, highly specialized piece of heavy machinery. It uses massive hydraulic pressure to tilt its entire tray bed backward down to ground level, effectively creating a ramp. Because of the incredible forces and weights at play here, these vehicles operate under strict, uncompromising heavy vehicle national law.
Guys, the physics here are absolutely wild. When a vehicle is loaded onto a tilt tray, it must be secured against extreme dynamic forces. The National Transport Commission mandates this thing called the 0.8 G forward force rule. What does that actually mean? It means if an operator is towing a 5,000-kilogram SUV, they have to use chains capable of holding 4,000 kilograms of forward force just to prevent a catastrophic load shift the second that truck hits the brakes. They also have to account for half the vehicle's weight in lateral and rearward forces. So one snap chain isn't just a minor mistake, it could literally result in a fatal projectile or cause the entire truck to roll over on a busy highway.
And all of this terrifying physics dictates their Safe Work Method Statement, or SWAMs, that operators must follow meticulously. First, ground stability is life or death. A ground slope of just 3 to 5 degrees could cause the shifting center of gravity to roll the entire truck right over during a tilt. Second, they have to manage high-speed passing traffic while working totally exposed on the shoulder of the road. Third, when winching a dead vehicle, operators must establish strict exclusion zones. Why? because if a steel winch cable snaps under that kind of tension, the recoil can be fatal. And finally, primary restraints must be secured before that tray is ever raised back up to prevent the load from rolling backward and crushing anyone behind it. The stakes here are absolute. With such massive physical and financial stakes on the line, how do you confidently hand your keys over to a total stranger on the side of the road?
That brings us to our final section, Part 4, Spotting the Good Guys.
The absolute first thing you need to look for are TOW or HTT on their number plates. That is the undeniable mark of a licensed operator in Victoria. A licensed operator carries full insurance, Vic Roads accreditation, and the strict safety protocols needed to handle those extreme physics we just talked about. But if you try to save a few bucks with an unlicensed operator, you are taking a massive gamble. Here's an insider secret for you. Using an unlicensed tower can literally void your own car insurance, leaving you personally legally liable if that heavy vehicle tips over or causes an accident during the tow. It's just a prime setup for pricing scams and absolute liability nightmares.
So if you want to know what a compliant top-tier operator actually looks like in practice, look at the 2026 Quality Business Award winner Elite 24/7 Towing out of Geelong. They achieved a quality score of 95% or higher, placing them in the top 1% of all Australian businesses. This is the exact kind of verified independent recognition you want to look for when you're in a pinch.
When you break down their credentials, they represent the gold standard you should seek out before an emergency even strikes. They've been a local, family-owned business since 2009, giving them the real-world experience to navigate complex recoveries. Remember those liability nightmares we mentioned? Well, they're fully licensed and insured, completely protecting you from any risk. And those hidden fees we warned you about earlier? Top-tier operators like this guarantee absolute pricing transparency and zero hidden fees. They even offer an emergency response time of under 30 minutes across Geelong and Melbourne's western suburbs.
This towing industry operates at an intense intersection of extreme physics and complex regulatory pricing. So I'll leave you with this final thought for today's explainer. Are you properly prepared to avoid the hidden traps of the industry the next time you hear your engine die? Take the time to find a trusted, licensed operator right now, because making the wrong choice on the side of the highway will cost you for sure, and it's going to cost you far more than just money.